Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Today I bring to you a video on the first look of Kushala Daora. It's very likely that this will be the first Elder Dragon, but also there's a lot of things in the game that's been leading up to this point to make it make sense as our first Elder Dragon for Monster Hunter now. And the first Elder Dragon is coming to the game, while Elder Dragons have been one of the most anticipated content releases in the game. When the game was announced, and before even it came out, everyone was wondering how they're going to do Elder Dragons. But why is Kushala the first one? Well, let's take a look. Kushala Daora was first introduced in Monster Hunter 2. The ecology trait is honestly one of my favorites of all time. This thing just literally sits down, sheds its skin, and this super sick steel dragon just comes out of nowhere. I'm like, oh my god, this looks really cool. Although I was a little salty because I remember reading an article on Google when Monster Hunter 2 came out for Japan, and it was only in Japan. Thankfully, a few months later, Monster Hunter Freedom 2 was announced, and thankfully, the North American version came out, and we were able to purchase Monster Hunter Freedom 2, and I was super excited. So yes, Kushala Daora, as you see here, extremely sick, and that was one of the best trailers of all time in Monster Hunter 2. Moving on, we have Kushala Daora's weaknesses. Thanks again to Revolutionary Wind 846 from Reddit, and per the game files from the version 70 Datamine, Kushala Daora will be weak to, as you see here, it will be weak to Dragon and Thunder. This makes sense as Lucky Lunar New Year gave us Dragon weapons and Zinogre gave us Thunder weapons. So this makes sense as why they were so fixated on Dragon weapons. And of course Zinogre gave us Thunder weapons, but it's not a coincidence that Lucky New Year kind of prepped us for what's coming next. And if you look at some of the newer monsters like Devil Joe, etc., they're also weak to Dragon. So there's that as well. Now, while this is exciting and all, here's some problems with Kushala Daora and Elder Dragons in general. How will they be implemented? Multiplayer is only good for certain countries, and there isn't anything like SOS flares in the game right now. Right now, Niantic has this really odd fascination with people wanting to go outside, despite the fact that we still have COVID, and there are some people out there in the world that are going through snow season, so they're snowed out, or just hail and or rain and floods like in California. SoCal, it's flooding right now. Not everyone could go outside. I get you want to collect data, but it's just not going to happen because of Mother Nature and other things. So again, multiplayer is in desperate need of improvement right now. The new Palico weapons and armor system might help a little bit, but again, multiplayer desperately needs some improvement. I don't know why there aren't things like SOS flares that we could buy instead of Hunt-a-thon tickets that would allow us to hunt with any of our friends in the world. You want the game to grow, and if you want the full Monster Hunter Now experience, then you need online multiplayer instead of just waiting for other hunters to come in real life. It's kind of ironic because in the games of Monster Hunter, we had gathering hubs where hunters would gather together. We don't have gathering hubs out in the real world. No, we have traffic, and more traffic, at least if you live in California like I do. But there is no specific area that houses hunt-a-thons in general in Monster Hunter Now. There's no checkpoints, there's just gathering nodes, and that's pretty much it as far as like places you would gather in general. But again, these are just a small amount of problems that we have in Monster Hunter Now that haven't really been addressed yet, especially if they plan on putting this new system out there. Or here's the worst way they could do it. If Niantic/Capcom just slaps Elder Dragons into Hunt-a-thons, it would be one of the worst decisions ever and one of the laziest ways to do it. Hunt-a-thons are not great. They've literally gotten worse because of the fact that one, the solo player problem hasn't been fixed yet, and that 25-second delay of waiting for other hunters to come, well, that's just a big problem in general too. It's a waste of time, and there's not, if they look at the data, I'm pretty sure outside of Hong Kong, Japan, and other countries in the East, you're not having a lot of group play for Hunt-a-thons. But regardless, I am grateful that the content is coming. Elder Dragons, obviously there has to be a testing phase or something like that, or they have to get feedback. So hopefully, if the system they put in isn't great, hopefully in the future it ends up becoming great. There's a lot of hope for this game because unlike the other game that's had literally done the same thing over and over to death, this game has so many more elements that they could input from the main series games, and not even half of them are in here yet. But Again, hopefully one of these days multiplayer is improved really well, and maybe one of these days we will get something like a, you know, live event, you know, someplace like going to Japan. I would love to take a flight down to Japan for an event and play in a huge event for Monster Hunter now. Hopefully that comes in the future. With that being said, hopefully y'all are excited, or hopefully we get excited in the future. Please do me a huge favor, like, subscribe, and comment for your YouTube algorithm. I would really appreciate it. Good luck on your grinds, and I will see y'all on the next video.